Hey, welcome to the Good Pass Podcast, man. Today I got a special treat for you. Had the pleasure of sitting down with MMA fighter Myla Hill. Now, if you don't know who Myla is, sit back, you're going to find out. Myla Hill is the daughter of former NBA superstar Grant Hill, daughter of former superstar, current superstar, R&B singer, because she's still putting out music, Tamia. If you don't know who Tamia is, look her up. Always made beautiful music. Myla Hill is a former basketball player. I know Myla from basketball. She played at Lake Highland Prep over there where they were winning state championships, and she played on in my same organization as my daughter in the Central Florida Elite program. They were on the Nike circuit playing against the best competition in the country. So I know Myla from being a basketball player. And then a year ago, Myla made a transition to the MMA ring. She got in the cage and she wanted to fight. And so I wanted to sit down with Myla and just kind of learn about her journey and find out what led her to MMA fighting. Because basketball is such a different, it's a different sport. The transition had to be crazy to go from basketball to the cage. And I wanted to catch up with Myla and find out a little bit about, how she made that transition and some of the characteristics of her on the basketball court, what she took into the ring with her that's helping propel her in the sport. She is 2 fights in. She's 2-0, waiting on her third fight. And she's winning in dramatic fashion, man. So wanted to sit down and spend some time with Myla Hill. You guys will see why I'm so excited about the interview. Myla is such a beautiful spirit. Always been a great person, very respectful, but hardworking and knows how to turn that switch on from nice Myla to I'm about to take your head off Myla. So you guys will see what I mean. Just a great conversation with MMA fighter Myla Hill.
Myla Hill wins. Myla Hill wins. She submitted Faith Sanders.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I
Good
can
to
tell
be
you're
here.
doing great. Good. Hey, listen. So I'm so glad you were able to join me on short notice.
Of
I know
course.
you've been a little busy doing what you do, and Bree showed me, and honestly, your first fight was on October 29th, a year ago.
Yes,
That is
a year
Brianna's
ago.
birthday. And so
Oh,
when she showed me you fighting, my whole family took a peek at it, man, and we were just so amazed and
oh,
just
awesome.
full support from the Gallon family. And I'm just so proud of you because
Thank you.
I remember you shooting the ball and playing basketball, and it's such a dramatic switch. And I just wanted to hear from you, just to kind of hear your story, how you turned to boxing. So just kind of take me back and tell me how you got introduced to the world of MMA.
Right, it is such a dramatic shift from what I was doing before. But um, so when I was growing up, there was this TV show called Bully Beatdown,
Okay.
and I never gotten bullied, so I don't. It's not like it was like some sort of fulfilled. I don't know, but it was a show where people brought their bullies on,
Right.
and they would have their bullies fight against like professional MMA fighters.
Okay.
And so I'm like 8 or 9 years old, and before that, I thought fighting was only boxing,
Right.
and so I'm seeing them kicking each other and elbowing each other and knees and wrestling and like real wrestling, not like WWE stuff
Yeah,
and
yeah, the good stuff, the real stuff.
chokes. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Chokes and arm breaks. And I always thought it was super cool. But at the time, women weren't doing really in that. They were in it now, but now I know that they were in it, but they weren't at the high levels of like the UFC and stuff yet.
Right.
So I kind of shelved that dream, obviously, and played other sports, played basketball, but never really liked 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 it like that. Like I
Yeah.
remember coming home sometimes and I'd watch my dad sit in the computer and he'd watch basketball games. I'm like, how can you watch basketball games? Like, but now I get it. I do the same stuff with MMA and stuff.
Right.
So, women weren't in the thing yet. So I did other sports, basketball, obviously. And, my last year of travel basketball, that summer, I was like, I knew I was going to quit. Like, I knew it was going to be my last year
Yep.
or my last time ever playing. I mean, I announced it to everybody. Everybody thought I was joking, but I
No,
was
no,
like,
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. So please continue.
I was like, I'm done. So was like, Mom, I want to do judo because years prior, Ronda Rousey exploded and
I remember.
her base martial art is judo. So I'm like, I want to do judo because Ronda Rousey's beating everybody up.
She was hot. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was knocking folks out.
But we had no judo gym, and my mom, there's no judo in the area. So my mom's like, I know this guy named John Burke out of the 6 levels where I train now, and he's a Gracie Jiu Jitsu guy.
Uh-huh.
So at first I'm like, what is this Gracie Jiu Jitsu stuff? I want to do judo. But I tried it out, and I was hooked ever since. And I came in there first day saying, I'm going to fight for you. And he was like, hold your horses. You got to learn how to fight first. So
Yeah.
he taught me, and the rest is history.
Oh, that's incredible. So you mentioned the basketball stuff because that's where I remember you from. I remember coming to the games at Lake Highland and got a chance to coach you a little bit in some training and stuff like that before, Coach Al took his team and I separated my team. But and the one thing I remember about you that I'm sure helps you with doing what you do now is, everybody remembers, Myla, you always went hard. Whatever you were doing, you went extremely hard, and that always caught my attention because I'm a basketball player. I'm a former player, and like your dad, like I didn't make it to where he made it to, but I played. When everybody told me I was too small to play in the SEC, and you hear all those doubts that people said, and you go and you do what you do. So for me, playing hard is something that I remember you so much for. I remember the Nike circuit stuff, and man, when I went to see some of those kids play on the Nike circuit, those girls could play. And I'm not talking about play for girls. They can't play for girls. They can flat out play, period.
Yeah,
And it caught my attention. And so for you guys to go out and compete against folks at that level, you had to have some dog in you. And, when we say coaches say you have that dog in you, it's like you don't back down to anybody. And that's the one thing I remember about you. So tell me a little bit about how just that characteristic, how has that helped propel you, and how has it helped continue to motivate you when you're out there doing your thing?
Well, I tell people all the time because people always ask, why don't you play basketball? I say, I was good at every part of basketball that didn't include the ball.
Right.
So the running, the talking on defense, like the intangible stuff, I can do it because I was not a very good basketball player looking back on it. But just doing the stuff that nobody wants to do, and like you were saying, playing hard and stuff, like I feel like to me that's, if I can't do anything else, then that's what I better be doing.
Yeah.
And I think that mindset of, I think when we play at those high levels of basketball, we know why everybody's there. Everybody who played on the Nike circuit, they want to play in college or the professionals. So and that was never my jam. Even when I was playing on the team, I remember Coach Al sitting us all down and saying, why do you want to play? And everyone at the tables like for college. And I'm here like, it's fun, but just learning how to compete against people who this is their only way out.
Right.
In a lot of circumstances, a lot of teams we played, it was basketball or nothing else.
Yeah.
So just learning how to, compete against people who this is their everything. I think that motivates everybody else to work harder and drive harder and push themselves. And and stuff. And I knew I was never the best basketball player. I knew I wasn't going to make it far in basketball, but I always knew that I was going to be the first person to win the sprints, or I was going to be the first person in the weight room or something like that. So just stuff like that. And it's definitely, I mean, that's all fighting. Fighting is all heart. So
Yeah.
I think I had heart in basketball, but it is finally getting to be displayed well in fighting.
Awesome. Awesome. And one of the things another thing I remember about the basketball stuff, Myla, was that as the years went on, you continued to get better at the things that you now say you weren't good at. But being I'm a student of the game. I played the game. I coached the game, and I noticed, your shot started to get better towards the end. You started knocking down some 15 footers, and we started depending on you to knock down some 15 footers, and you never. I just don't remember you ever asking to come out of the game, and things like that will help you in anything you do in life. And so when Bree bought that phone to me and showed me you fighting, I just remember you went out and you tapped gloves for a brief second, and the rest was all business. And that's what I remember about you. So do me a favor, take me through, what are you thinking about when you're preparing for a fight? And I want you to take me to the day before, a couple of days before, what you're thinking about, what you're working on. Do you watch film like we do in basketball? Take me through that, but also take me to 30 to 45 minutes, before walking into the ring. What's going through your mind? So take me back a couple of days and then take me to 30 to 45 seconds before you step in the ring.
So I was telling people earlier about this. I say the most nerve-wracking day of a whole fight camp is the day before the weigh-in. So 2 days before the fight. I think like it's an accumulation of like all training camp is done, and when you're trained for a fight, you kind of wrap up your hard training and stuff like a week before your fight.
Sure.
So you kind of
Yeah.
ease into it, and the only thing you have to worry about is the weight. So you're not training that hard that last week. So that 2 days before the fight, you just got to step on the scale and see her. So that's like the most, to me, that's the most nerve-wracking part. And one thing that's helped me deal with that is it's gonna happen. Like I've never pulled out of a fight.
Right.
I don't ever plan on pulling out of a fight. So it's gonna happen. And I try not to think about it, but it's obviously there. And it's weird to think like in 2 days I'll be in a fist fight at this time. I'll be punching some girl in the face and stuff. So I'd say 2 days out, it's definitely the most nerve-wracking. But then that weigh-in day, so we weigh in 24 hours before we fight.
Okay.
So once we get to the weigh-ins and you get to see the girl or see the opponent you're fighting, it's like you realize like they bleed the same as you. They breathe the same that you do, and you get to look at them in their eyes, and you get to see, if they're really ready. And I think that when you do that stare off, you can see. I call it like the fight prediction, because you can see if they're really about to come off and take your head off, or if you got it in the bag and things like that. So once I look at the girl and I get to see her in the flesh, because right, it's been 8 weeks or 6 weeks of just training for this one thing.
Right.
So once you see her, it's like, okay, and then it's all kind of downhill from there. It just, you get more excited, and the closer and closer you are to the actual fight, the closer I am to the cage, the more relaxed I get.
Yeah.
So show up to the venue probably my last fight, I had to be at the venue at 4:30 p.m. and I was the co-main, so I didn't go on until 11 p.m.
Okay.
So just sitting in the back, staying. Some people take a nap. I don't take a nap. I just kind of relax and just sit and watch the people in front of me, hit mitts and go out and see how they did and stuff like that. But when it comes to that, some people like to listen to rap. I like to listen to like gospel music before, just because it calms me down and stuff like that, and just staying calm and relaxed. And then once we get to the cage, it's just an accumulation of all the hard work you've done for 8 weeks and stuff. And I personally don't, my coaches will watch the film, it can be a slippery slope. As you know, if you kind of dig into film and stuff like
Sure.
that, I think especially if you're fighting the person, you know, you don't want to fall too deep in this person does this really well or this
Right.
person does this really well. And then just leaning back to the level of your training. Like, you know, I think my last fight I fought 20 pounds heavier, and the girl was 6 foot tall. And you know, I'm not very tall.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people were like, you know, this girl's really good, this, that, and that. And the thing I was telling myself is, you know, I'm really good too.
That's
And I
right.
train, I work just as hard or harder than this girl. And you know what? She's really big in this, but and where she's big, I make up in other factors. So just reminding yourself that you can fight too is
I love
important.
that mindset. I love that mindset. It's kind of the mindset I carried through my entire career. Always the smallest on the team, most of the time smallest on the floor. But you just bring that extra element, and you know, when others are tapping out and willing to give up, you know, you got that extra
Yeah,
thing in you that say, you know what, hadn't been taught
exactly.
that one. Don't know how to give up. Got to keep
Exactly.
fighting. So that's what you've always had. So that has to be, I won't say the easy part because none of it is easy, but that's the part that you already had. So not a whole lot of film. I can understand that the way you know, that opponent fights you may be different than they fought the previous opponent for different reasons. So can't get caught up in the film. So that kind of answers that question for me. Um, for those that don't know, and this will be on YouTube, Myla. So I want people to know who you are. I don't want to embarrass you with it, but I do want to know. This is the daughter of Grant Hill and Tamia, and the reason I say that because we all, you know, we want our kids to play basketball if we play basketball and all that stuff. One of the things I read, and you can confirm this for me. One of the things I read in doing a little homework about I think you're 2 fights in now, preparing for the third
Right.
fight, is that, you know, first of all, dad is in awe, like he's watching his daughter, like, is that my baby out there fighting? But I also understand that he's been very supportive, and your family's been very supportive, which is a big deal. It's a huge deal, especially when you're doing something like this, just to know that you've got some folks behind you, especially your parents. And so, tell me a little bit about that. How has someone like, you know, superstar NBA player Grant Hill and superstar R&B singer Tamia, how have they been able to support you and say, you know, Myla, you know, while it scares us a little bit because I'm sure it does, but we've got confidence that with all the work you're putting in, you're going to go out and do and follow your dreams and do what you do because it's super important. Tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, I mean, at first when I was telling you earlier about me, you know, that last season of travel basketball, I kind of sprung it up on my parents, and you know, at first they were like, "What? You know, where is this coming from?" I was playing basketball, and this is almost a complete 180. But you know, and they provided me the gym and stuff, but I don't think they thought that I was actually gonna get in there. I think maybe they thought I wanted to train like self defense and things
Right.
like that. And you know, I just told my dad one day, I sat him down, I was like, I'm gonna be a champion at this and I'll be world champion. And I have everything, all my goals written down on a calendar. And by this time I'll be here and this and that. And you know, at first he was like, this was before I even fought. So this was like 3 months into training.
Wow.
And at first he was like, yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, you want to have goals that are achievable and things, basically telling me, you know, you should, this is like a lot on him. And I understand that. But
Yeah.
when you keep putting in the work and stuff, I think eventually they both got on board 100%.
Awesome.
Because I've put in, and when I played basketball, I was a hard worker, but I never was like gonna put up shots or something.
The
I
extra
never was
stuff.
gonna
Yeah.
I never was gonna do any because I just didn't love it. Like I like
Right.
getting up and down and stuff, but I never put in that extra work and stuff like that other people who are fantastic at basketball do. You know, I never did that, and so I do that now for MMA, and
Right.
they've seen that. So I think that, I mean, at some point they kind of had to start believing in it, and
That's right.
thinking I was going to do it, because it's all I do, and it's all I did. I would go. I go to school. I go. This is what I do now. I go to school in the morning, and then I go train at night. It's like it's every day I do the same thing. So
Right.
they took a hold of it, and they've been really helpful and supportive um, of things outside of the cage, like dealing with media and
Yep.
the attention
Yep.
and how to carry myself and conduct myself in a respectable manner. I think with cage fighting, I think a lot of people believe that I'm just insane and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so kind of bringing the human side of cage fighting back is something that they've helped me with, and also dealing with promoters and things like that. My mom's
Yeah.
been especially helpful with. So yeah, I'm in a really nice position having them too, and obviously knowing what it takes to get to the top of
Absolutely.
like athletics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that part of it is super important, and I completely understand the shock factor at first, and it happens with just about any drastic turn like that. But at the end of the day, you know that they're with you, and it just helps so much when you've got that support. I read that and wanted to ask you about that because that is super important, and just having them, like you said, that have been there with the media and how to conduct yourself, and I don't think you needed much help in that, Myla. You've always been super professional and very kind. And one of the things that I love about what I saw in both of the fights, and again, I didn't see the whole fight. I saw the clips that I'm assuming Bree got them from your postings. But what I saw was, you know, a person that was able to transition from nice Myla to the Myla that needed to go in there and take care of business. And that is an unbelievable trait, to be able to turn it on like that. And it's one that I've always prided myself in being a nice Reggie Gallon, but when I'm between the rectangle, it's fair game and it's super competitive. So I think that competitiveness that I saw from you on the basketball court is definitely something that you can take into the ring with you and even turn it up 3 or 4 notches because somebody's basically literally coming for your head. Um,
yeah.
I love the fact that just I don't know if you remember it because it's probably like a blur when you're actually fighting, but you tap gloves and you were so into that thing so quickly that I don't know if your opponent had a chance to react, to respond. I think this was your first fight, Genilova, your first fight, and you tap gloves and that was it. It was it was
Yeah.
you went to work and I just remember. But one of the things I also remember was after the fight, you guys embraced and said what you said and you were ready for the next one. You just looked
Yeah.
like you could have went another 3 or 4 rounds after that. So we talked about the basketball thing. Are there any other characteristics that you took from just playing the sport of basketball into the ring or the competitive spirit and the drive? Does it stop there as far as transitioning from one sport to the next?
No, I think basketball it's helped me in a lot of aspects. Just even outside of that, they trying to think of them all. It's tough, but like even in being a leader in the
Mm-hmm.
gym and being a leader with, we have a lot of young guys who want to fight or get in the cage, and just being around them and knowing how to communicate as a team, because we're kind of a team, but we're not really a team. It's
Right.
it's a weird dynamic, but just being able to communicate, because I played those team sports and things like that have
Sure.
helped. But it's mainly just the competing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Getting getting I mean, EYBL, right? All eyes are on you and that,
Yep.
and I was definitely getting embarrassed in some stuff. So I'm like, now I can have all eyes on me and do well. It's a win-win. But like you were saying earlier with the switch, a big thing that my coaches hammer on me is, I don't fight from a bad place.
Right.
And I think I got that from basketball too. I never, especially in fighting, I never, I don't hate anybody I fight.
Right.
Because that doesn't last very long. And you know, it's at my last weigh-in, the girl, she tried to big dog me and stuff like that. And that's fine, if you got to fight from that angry place. But my coach emphasized that stuff doesn't last. I fight because I love it. And so I got, doing things because you love it from basketball
Yeah.
and how when you truly enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work at all. So
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely. I've always told, a lot of both of my kids played basketball, played college basketball, and I've always said that to them. And I have that conversation with my wife, and she doesn't quite understand what we mean by that. She's like, "Well, how can it be fun if it's all this work?" And but when you're doing something that you're passionate about, it doesn't quite feel like work because it's what you want to do, and so that's what I see when I see you go in the ring. It's something that you've put a lot of work in, a lot of time in. So it's not work; it's the fun part actually when you go in the ring. Even though it's super
Exactly.
competitive, you've put this 6 weeks of work in, and now it's time to unleash. And so that is absolutely awesome. You've talked about your training, and I absolutely I can see you in the gym hitting the bag. I think you've got some stuff posted where you're putting in that time and hitting the bag. And my son got a chance to see you for the first time today. Couldn't believe it. He saw it and he was just
Oh
blown
yeah.
away the way you were. I mean, it's one thing to say I want to fight, but what I see, Myla, is I see a lot of skill and technique in there. So this ain't somebody who just has a dream to fight. Like I see you've put a lot of work in the technique. It's not just grabbing somebody and trying to get them to the floor. You've studied this thing, and you've definitely put a lot of work into not only the physical part, but the mental part. And I always said in basketball to the ladies when I was coaching, mental is to physical as 4 is to 1, and so a lot of it is mental. So talk about real briefly just the mental preparation for it.
Yeah, everybody has their different what they think of fighting and what it is, and some people call it war and stuff. And I just honestly, when it comes to mental preparation, I do a lot of visualization.
Mm-hmm.
So like just like for this last fight, I played the walkout song I picked. I played it as I was doing my visualization, and what I'll do with that is I'll visualize myself in the cage and just being not necessarily winning the fight, but just being better everywhere. So
Right.
seeing everything that the opponent throws, blocking everything, returning, grappling, just winning all the exchanges and stuff like that. And that really helps. So when the walkout music does play, you're in that headspace
There you go.
of success. But I do a lot of visualization, a lot of breathing,
Okay.
um, and then trying not trying to slip into stuff and slip into people's hype and things like that,
Right.
but also
Right.
not trying to slip into my own hype. I think a lot of people's deep downfall in this sport, especially, is once they get a couple wins, they start to think, mentally, physically, emotionally, I'm unbeatable.
Right.
And the thing is, everyone's beatable. So
Absolutely.
so also, being cognizant, you can always better your best and 1% better
Absolutely.
every day.
I like
So
that.
so so just a combo of all of those things that have really helped me and learning how to relax and things like that.
Nice. Nice. And so I read that you're a purple belt. Is that in jujitsu?
Yes.
That's
And
awesome.
jujitsu, yes.
In jujitsu, that
Yeah.
is absolutely awesome. And how long did it take you to go through progress through the steps and going from one, or did you train for a short while and just took a test, and how does that work? You become a purple belt.
So the jujitsu rankings are white and then four stripes. So each belt has its four stripes in between.
Got it.
And then so white, blue, purple, brown, black.
Wow.
So I got my purple belt almost a little bit more than a year ago
Okay.
today. Um, and with that, it's whenever coach says at my gym, some gyms test and things like that. My coach promotes basically when he feels that
What
you're
he
ready for
sees.
this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it takes the average person 8 to 10 years to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So it's a long process, and so I got to halfway point at 3.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
I,
pretty crazy.
it's it's awesome. Like I, I jiu-jitsu, people say jiu-jitsu saved their lives and things like that. I never
Yeah.
had anything that was like dire like that, but it was close. Like jiu-jitsu gave me a purpose and things like that. So I'll forever be grateful for jiu-jitsu and things like that. But
Awesome.
yeah, purple belt. I'm like 3 stripes purple belt, so almost to
Oh,
brown.
wow.
And yeah, but you know, my coach says the belt only covers 2 inches of your butt. You better cover the rest. So,
Man, is it coaching amazing? Because no matter how high
oh
you get,
man,
we always find a way to keep you level. So that
exactly.
I like that. I like that. And I'm not going to keep you a whole lot longer. I do want to ask you, right now you're fighting amateur. Have you put any thought into taking that next step and turning pro? Where does that kind of sit in your? I know you've written down your goals. Where does that sit on your list of goals?
So yeah, that's a lot of people are asking me that. My last fight, I was the youngest on the card by 6 years.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm really young.
Wow.
I'm only 20. So yeah, you know, being pro would be cool, getting paid and stuff for fighting and stuff. But when I want to go pro on when I'm ready, and
There you go.
I don't want to. I think a lot of people rush going professional before they've really seen certain elements and
Absolutely.
aspects of the fight game. So when I go pro, I want it to be like like I'm complete.
I'm ready.
I'm a complete fighter, and obviously you make improvements all the time and things like that. But when I'm pro, I want to be complete, and so hopefully this time next year or this time 2 years from now I'll be professional. But like I said, I'm really young,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think I have a lot of maturing to do in the fight game.
Hmm. I like your
So
approach. I like your approach, and I think that that approach comes from the fact that you said earlier that you set goals. You write them down and you set your goals. If you don't do that, you don't know when you're ready. Because you're not
exactly.
tracking your progress, and I think that that's absolutely awesome. Hey, listen, I am so excited that I got a chance to spend some time with you. I definitely wanted to do this. The minute I saw it, I knew I had to connect with you and try to get you on. And so just know that you've got the Gallon family and the Good Pass podcast behind you, and maybe we'll make it down to see you. And but just know if we're not there, we're pulling for you. I think everybody in my family now has had a chance to see you handle your business. Wish you
Awesome.
all the best. You've always been a stand-up person. I think that comes from your fathers and your mother have always been stand-up folks. And I even met I think your little brother, and one time we were at Nike Nationals, he was shooting the rock. And so I think it was I can't remember, but whoever it was, they were about 10 at the time. And they were just shooting J's like crazy. So you've got us behind you, and we really wish you the absolute best. And we'll keep watching and keep supporting. And anything I can do for
Awesome.
you on my end, Myla, please reach out.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it, and I'm so happy I got to be on this podcast. And it's good to connect.
Oh, no doubt, no
Good to
doubt.
see
It was very
my
good.
basketball friends and things
Absolutely,
like that.
absolutely. We'll continue to support, and I'll stay in touch and make sure Bree and keeps an eye on what you're doing, and if there's anything we could ever help you with, make sure to tell Pops I said hi.
I
And
will.
we'll definitely we'll stay and follow you and support you. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, Molly. Good luck, baby. Take care.
Thank you.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye bye.